August 17th will of course be a very nice title matchup, as it will be UFC 305 Plessis versus Adesanya. And of course in the co-main event, Kai Kara-France will be taking on the former title challenger Steve Urkeg. Unfortunately for the other ones, I'm not cut out for it talk about it, so we'll just be talking about the co-main event and the main event. But for all the people who are saying, where did the Leech go? He's back. He'll be fighting Carlos Prates. Hey, that's nice. But anywho, Steve Urkeg, aka the Astro Boy, he's 12-2 with 2 wins by way of knockout, 6 submissions, and 4 decisions, and no losses by way of stoppage. Now, of course, he is coming off of the unanimous decision loss to Alexandre Pantoja. Some people had it for Urkeg, some people had it for Pantoja. All I'm going to say, it was a very close fight. And if you want my 2 cents, he fumbled the last round. Oh, yeah, he kind of fumbled the last round. But he is relatively still new to this MMA game, only 14 fights. He will learn, and I will assume he will become a future champion. But anywho, before that, he'll have to take on the seasoned veteran, Kai Kara-France. Don't blink. Why? Because he might unanimous decision you. But anywho, he is 24-11 with 11 wins by way of knockout, 3 submissions, and 10 decisions. A little bit of pop, but not too much. 3 losses by way of knockout, 3 losses by way of submission, and 5 losses by way of decision, and 1 no contest. He is 31, and Urkeg is 29. He is coming off of back-to-back losses. The first one being the TKO against Brandon Moreno, back when Brandon Moreno was still, doing damage at this point. And a split decision loss to Amir Al-Bazi. It's not that bad. Split decision. So of course, this will be a very interesting fight, as Urkeg is hopefully, after he beats him, he gets one more fighter, and then he challenges for a title. So who do I got winning? It's a very interesting one. Not really. I got Urkeg by decision. Don't get me wrong, Kai Kara-France has been in and around the ring, and if anyone's able to exploit Urkeg's inexperience, it will be Kai Kara-France. Unfortunately for France, Urkeg has already fought the champion, so he has learned quite a lot. So he's most likely fixed quite a bit of things in his game plan and most likely his, thinking inside the octagon, but whatever. Urkeg's winning decision, I could say 2-1, even 3-2. Of course it's 2-1. You can't really win 1-2, right? But you get the point. 3-0, I will not be surprised. Steve Urkeg will most likely control the entire pace of the fight against Kai Kara-France and get a decision win. Hopefully climbing up the rankings, get another title shot. But you never know, because Kai Kara-France has the chance. Of course he does. He always has a chance. He has quite a bit of fight still in him, obviously. 31-year-old, but with 35 fights, that is quite a bit of fights. But you get the point. He has a lot to show. If you're picking Kai Kara-France, I do not to blame you, but I expect Urkeg to be able to take him down. Kind of beat him on the feet as well. Maybe not too much. I think that's where Kai Kara-France wins 1 round, but I think Urkeg can win the other ones. But anywho, the main event. Dricus du Plessis will be defending his UFC middleweight championship belt against the former middleweight, 2-time middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya. Now, of course, Israel Adesanya, the last stylebender, used to be a fan favorite until Sean Strickland came around and started calling him a dog diddler. But whatever. And also the Alex Pereira debacle. But whatever. He is 24-3 with 16 wins by way of knockout and 8 decisions, and only 1 loss by way of knockout and 2 losses by way of decision. Now, of course, his 3 losses all come relatively quickly for him. His first loss was back in 2021. We all know where that one's from. Against Jan Blachowicz in his attempt to become a 2-division world champion. Unfortunately, he was unsuccessful. His other loss was when he lost the belt to Alex Pereira, where he got stopped in the very last round. Now, of course, his latest loss is about a year ago against Sean Strickland, where he re-lost the belt. We'll talk about that whole thing later. But one major thing is he is 35. He is starting to age. But before we talk about all that stuff, we'll talk about Dricus du Plessis. Still knocks. I don't know what that means. 21-2. With 9 wins by way of knockout, 10 submission wins, and 2 decisions. He is quite a stoppage artist, mostly on the submission. Well, not mostly, just a little bit on the submission side. And 2 losses, 1 by knockout and 1 by submission. His losses came back in 2014 via guillotine choke and 2018 via knockout. But in UFC, he is undefeated, coming off of back-to-back great wins. One against Robert Whittaker, where he dropped him with a jab. Then he beat Sean Strickland via split decision, where it was a lot of people thought Strickland pulled it off. To be honest, once again, I will be putting on my 2 cents. I thought Strickland won clearly three rounds. I thought he won clearly. I thought he won the first two, and then he lost, and he won the last one. Of course, the cut on Strickland's eye definitely helped Du Plessis. But before that, we'll talk about Adesanya. Adesanya, of course, is getting somewhat criticized as he is getting a title shot after a year off, coming off of a loss. Now, of course, the benefit of the doubt is he is a two-time world champion. He won the belt, obviously, defended it quite a bit of times, like a lot. And then he lost to Pereira, where he avenged his loss to Pereira via knockout, and then he lost again. But a year off, it's going to do better for Adesanya that he's been out for a year. He has been in quite a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Of course, Jan Blachowicz, I'm pretty sure he got over it, but 3 fights later, Alex Pereira, the dude who beat you twice in kickboxing, has now found his way to MMA and challenging for your world title. You heard him in the first round, almost stopped him, but he survived and stopped you in the very last round, therefore becoming 3-0 against you. But in the rematch, you finally get your revenge, reclaiming your title and finally beating the guy that has beaten you 3 times in a row, only to lose to one of the biggest shit talkers in the UFC, Sean Strickland. Maybe not the biggest, but calling you a dog diddler, feminine and all that stuff, only for you to lose basically damn near every round. It does something to someone's psyche, you know? So that year off will do wonders for his mental health and hopefully gets him back in the game. Now, of course, the main concern is actually it's been quite split. Before it used to be Adesanya is about to absolutely knock out Du Plessis. But now it's Du Plessis going to retire Adesanya. Is there any reason for that? Yes, because although I believe this will not be a close fight, it could be not a close fight for either of these guys. Both of these guys can easily, dominate the fight. Of course, Adesanya is more of that calculated counter striker, more of that pick and poke type fighter. Obviously, that's what most people hated him for in his title reign, decision wins. And that will help with against Du Plessis. And another thing is Du Plessis likes to charge in. Now, of course, they do compare to Robert Whittaker in the way he charges in. The difference is Robert Whittaker, if this makes any sense, charges in, but very orthodox. There's a certain rhythm to his charges, which is why Adesanya was able to counter. Du Plessis is a very unorthodox striker and charger. And one thing that will help Du Plessis a lot is the fact that Du Plessis can take down Adesanya essentially at any point in the fight, which is why many people believe that what won him the Strickland fight. Now, of course, take that with a grain of salt because he took down Strickland and in the next 3 seconds he just got up. So kind of hard to really score that for Du Plessis, but whatever, right? And one of the other things that goes against Adesanya is Strickland's jab. Strickland was able to absolutely nullify Du Plessis' aggression with his jab. When you look at his face after the fight, it looked horrible from just the jab. And not only that, Strickland is a way more defensively sound fighter than Adesanya. Adesanya, don't get me wrong, is very defensive, but I don't think he'll be very defensive against unorthodox styles. I think he'll be able to loop around his guard and hit him cleanly. Now, not in the jaw, obviously. He'll keep his jaw very nice and secure, but I think he'll be able to loop around his guard, hit him a couple times, and also be able to take him down. So Du Plessis has quite a bit of stuff in his arsenal to be able to beat Adesanya. The difference is Adesanya, although has lost a couple times, has lost a bit of his respect, he is still one of the best strikers in the UFC currently. Adesanya, if Du Plessis doesn't line anything big in the first couple rounds, Adesanya will catch on to his timing. Although it is unorthodox, and he will be able to catch him every once in a while, he could still time it. He can still time his unorthodoxness, I guess you could say. It will just take a little bit longer. And that's what I'm banking off of. I think Adesanya can defend, kind of defend the takedowns, but defend the submission threats, as you would say, and be able to time Du Plessis in the 4th round, catching him with a very, very strong punch and knocking out Du Plessis regaining his title for the third time, or second time, because the first one he just claimed it, right? But Du Plessis, there's a reason why the odds have it so close. Du Plessis has power in his hands. He has quite a bit of submissions to his name. He could very well submit Adesanya. If Adesanya is not on his A game, if he doesn't get his mentality correct, Du Plessis is going to absolutely steamroll through him, maybe even make it look easy. But if you get a sharp Adesanya, that's what I'm banking off of. 4th round stoppage win over Du Plessis, regaining his belt. And, of course, they are banking off the fact that Adesanya will win this fight. That's why they're giving him the title shot. And so they could book Adesanya versus Pereira 3 for double champ status for Adesanya. But anywho, Du Plessis, I'm not if someone said, "Hey man, you want to bet on this?" I'm not betting on this fight. It's too much. It's too close. Du Plessis has just as much chance to dominate the fight as much as Adesanya has a chance of dominating this fight. It's not going to be a close fight for any of these guys. Whoever's losing is going to get dominated, unfortunately. That's what I think. But besides that, that's enough dilly-dallying. I have Steve Urkeg winning unanimous decision over Kai Kara-France, and Israel Adesanya reclaiming his belt for the second time in the 4th round against Cedricus Du Plessis, hopefully setting up the trilogy and final and the end to the Adesanya-Pereira rivalry. Now, of course, if you guys have a different opinion, leave it down in the comments below. For all I know, maybe you guys know a little bit more than I do. Maybe you guys know something that I don't. But anywho, hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
All hands on deck. We are witnessing an upset in the making.
Oh, what a shot. He's staggered. He's staggered. Does he know? Does he know he's even good?
This round could go either way. 10 seconds, and now going for the finish.
Beautiful, sneaky shot.